Hey guys, Stefan Fischer here from All Off Road. I hope you guys are well. In today's video we're gonna have a look at the Jackery Explorer 2000 Plus, a 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter portable battery bank, which I took through its paces, 4-wheel driving and camping. I tested it around the house and I also tested it as a UPS. So stay tuned and I tell you all the pros and cons and whether I think it is a good investment. Yeah, this is actually the first Jackery unit I have ever reviewed. Jackery is one of the oldest portable battery bank manufacturers. I think they did the first unit 12 years ago. And they did contact me probably a year or so ago and asked me to review one of their battery banks. However, at the time they all were NMC lithium chemistry and I wasn't really that interested in any more NMC units simply because of the very short cycle life. However, they contacted me again probably a month ago, asked me to review the new Jackery Explorer 2000 Plus, and because it was Live Pure4 and I wanted to see whether it would work as a UPS in my home office, I agreed to it. So without further ado, let's get into the specs of the unit. I have received the unit free of charge for review and testing purposes, but that is all according to my review and testing terms. So as always, I will only share my honest opinion of this unit, good or bad, so stay tuned. But before we get into it, YouTube again changed its algorithm and it makes it much harder for smaller content creators like me to really be discovered. So I really need your help by sharing, liking, leaving me a comment section, and maybe even if you don't have the time to watch the video in its entirety, please just let it run through, because that are all metrics YouTube considers how it's gonna suggest a video to other viewers. The Jackery Explorer 2000 Plus is a 2024 watt-hour portable battery bank with a built-in 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter and a 700 watt MPPT solar controller. It now uses Live Pure4 lithium cells and has a cycle life of 4000 cycles down to 70% state of health. The usable capacity is around 1830 watt hours, and it is quite common for these units to have a little bit less capacity than advertised. The unit has a LED display as well as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and an accompanying app. Wi-Fi means you can remote control the unit from anywhere where you have internet. That's a great feature. The Jackery weighs 27.9 kilograms, so it's not lightweight. It does have wheels and a pull-out draw handle, as well as solid carry handles on each side. The height of the unit is 37 centimeters, the width is 47 centimeters, and the depth is 36 centimeters. The unit has AC fast charging, and that takes 2 hours to fully recharge. Via the included car adapter, it will take around 25 hours to recharge. And if you use two 100 watt solar panels, it will take around 10 hours to fully recharge. The unit has two USB-A 18 watt fast charging ports and two USB-C 100 watt fast charging ports. You also have three 220 volt AC sockets, which support 3000 watt max and up to 6000 watt surge peak. The total max output for all three ports is 25 amps. You also have a 12 volt cigarette lighter socket for in and output with a max of 10 amps. Input-wise, you don't have too many options. There are two 8020 barrel connectors for solar input, and then you have a regular AC input plug, which is good so you don't need any extra charging cable. And you have the combined input and output 12 volt cigarette lighter port. On the rear you also have the DC expansion ports to connect additional batteries. I began by testing devices in my workshop, powering various equipment with ease. Next I took it camping, where it effortlessly handled my induction cooker and EcoFlow Glacier fridge on a particular hot day. I was able to conduct 2 induction cooking sessions and the fridge stayed powered throughout. Using 2 100-watt Jackery solar panels, I easily maintained a full charge until sunset. So for an occasional weekend away, the power bank with the 2 solar panels would be perfect. For home power outage simulation, the unit successfully ran both my kettle and toaster, drawing well over 3000 watt for 2 minutes before shutting down. However, it had no trouble powering my air fryer and electric kettle simultaneously when kept at around 3000 watt. The primary test though was using it as a UPS for my home office. Despite the fans being initially quite audible, switching to battery saver and quiet charging made it work smoothly. The fans only activated during actual power cut, which was manageable. It also powered my TV, my children's Xbox and media center effectively as a UPS. Although the 20 millisecond connection time is slower than some commercial UPS options, it did not disrupt the operation of the 2 different computers I tested. I put the unit through its paces with several 220 volt power tools and it ran my drop saw effortless. It also handled running my heat gun and drop saw simultaneously without a hitch. Although I haven't tried it with commercial grade power tools, the energy reserves suggest it would perform well on a construction site. In regards to the fan noise level, it sits around 37 decibels at quiet charging and it ramps up to around 52 decibels at fast charging. Let's now have a look what I would regard as cons. I could not easily connect the unit via Bluetooth when in the field and no Wi-Fi was available. Unless you hold the power button pressed when starting the unit, you can't just swap over later on and connect the app. You have to switch the unit off and then back on again. That is a limitation which was a little annoying. I would also like to see an always on display option. At the moment you only have the option 2 hours, 2 minutes and off, and it resets after each cycles to 2 minutes. Quick heads up about the charging ports on this unit. The cigarette lighter socket isn't the tightest fit, it can be finicky to connect properly. The manual warns against using it on rough terrain to prevent fire risk due to a shaky connection. A sturdier option like a XT60 or a 100 watt USB-C connector would be preferable for charging on the move. If you are charging via AC, note that the speed drops significantly at around 30 degrees internal temperature. It starts strong at around 1800 watt, but don't expect that to last long, it will drop quickly to around 1100. Also, the operating temperature tops out at 45 degrees, which might be limiting for our scorching Australian summers, particularly if you're relying on it as an emergency power source. At over 140 amp hours, it's a hefty battery bank, but remember, car charging is a slow crawl. It takes full 24 hours to charge via the cigarette lighter socket. Planning a trip longer than a weekend, a DC converter would be a smart investment. The unit is tied to Jackery solar panels with a 80/20 barrel connector, which is quite unusual. But they've released a handy converter for an Anderson plug, which was good to match my setup. Keep in mind the unit is a solid 27 kilograms, so in cases where you can't use a handle and the wheels, you will need a bit of muscle to carry it around. What I really like. It's a high-powered device with a 140 amp hour capacity. It is robust and a quality build. The equipped handles and wheels are great for mobility. It utilizes durable LiFePO4 battery technology. It is expandable with add-on batteries, though they are dependent on the main unit, you can't use them individually. It has rapid 220 volt charging capabilities, at least at moderate ambient temperatures. I really like the battery life extension feature, which means it discharges to 15% capacity left and charges only up to 85%. That is supposedly giving you a 30% increase in longevity, which is great if you use it as a UPS. The quiet charging option is available. It trades off speed for reduced noise, but that makes it manageable around the house. The app is user-friendly with an intuitive layout. It delivers 3000 watt continuous power, 3400 watt briefly, and has a 6000 watt peak. The LED screen is legible and clear, and I really like the remote control feature where I control the app from anywhere I have internet. The 3 years warranty is extendable to 5 years, so that is pretty good as well. So overall, I think this is a solid unit, and I will keep the Jackery 2000 Explorer Plus with me and in my repertoire, and will use it around the house and specifically in my office as a UPS. Can I recommend the Explorer for four-wheel driving and camping? Well, that really depends. It is a fairly big and heavy unit. If you have space in your car and you only go camping, say, for 1 or 2 days, this may be a good alternative for you, because it really will power everything you need for a weekend away. It will power your fridge, it will enable you to charge all your devices, have lights running, especially if you combine it with the 2 100-watt solar panels like I have. But it is a big and heavy unit, so the question is whether you have the room for it. I won't take it four-wheel driving with me. I have a good LFP setup in my car, and while I take portable units with me to do my induction cooking and allow me to offload my footage away from the car, these would be way too big for my needs. However, I will be keeping the Jackery Explorer, and it will be used as a UPS for my wife's and mine shared office, and it will provide power for all the devices there during a power outage. I also appreciate having a unit of that size at home. If we really have a power outage, I could run the fridge or freezer off it for quite some time. So I think it's a very handy unit to have around, especially now as it's LFP and you have a decent cycle life. Jackery also provided me with 2 100-watt solar panels, so here's a lowdown. These panels are impressively portable and a breeze to set up, thanks to magnetic closure and built-in stands. They even feature USB ports for direct device charging. Performance-wise, I got over 90 watt from each, indicating high quality. They are durable too, with a protective rhino coating. I only really had 2 gripes. One is the 8020 barrel connector, which is quite unusual, and you will need to use an adapter to Anderson, for example, to use it with other panels. One thing I noticed is that the Jackery solar panels do not work well in very cloudy conditions. I could get no wattage out of them, but if I used a different panel, I did get wattage out of them under exactly the same conditions, so that is something to keep in mind. Wrapping up my review of the Jackery Explorer 2000 Plus. It's a solid product. Despite a few hiccups, it's earned its place in my home and studio. I reached out to Jackery support with some queries, but found their product knowledge a bit lacking, which was a letdown. And a quick note on terminology. Calling these units solar generators is a misnomer, and that's not exclusive to Jackery. They are battery banks. They store, not generate solar energy. This isn't a long-term review, but since I'm keeping the unit, look out for an update from me in a couple of years. Yeah guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you took some useful information from it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could share, like, subscribe, and if you can afford it, please consider to head over to Patreon or buy me a coffee, and with the equivalent of a cup of coffee or 2 per month, you can really help me making these videos. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you along the tracks.